Well, the Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain saga continues in, well, kind of an unexpected moment here from Phoenix Raceway this past weekend. Hello everybody, hope you're all having a great day and welcome back to one of the IRL NASCAR videos that we like to do. And well, the topic here this time is Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain. We'll kind of talk about the Phoenix race a little bit later on, but let's just get right into the exciting stuff. Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain have had once again a run-in on track right at the end in Phoenix in overtime. We saw Wild ending there in Phoenix after a really lackluster race. But yeah, we had Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain come together in a late restart. There were some onboard cameras that NASCAR put out because on the TV coverage we kind of saw the part where Denny had put Ross in the wall, but we didn't see much aside from that. I will hopefully have some clips here at this point in time, but we saw on the restart Denny Hamlin on two fresh tires actually decided to take those two tires the crew did, and a bunch of cars behind him had four fresh tires, including Kevin Harvick, who had gotten robbed of the race victory after that caution had come out from Harrison Burton having that spin out of turn 4 there across the apron. So Hamlin was finding himself very quickly in trouble on this final restart with just falling back in the four fresh tires cars absolutely engulfing him, and we saw Tyler Reddick nearly win the race with those four fresh tires. It was certainly a good call, but not good enough apparently, because it was still two tires that won, by the way, with William Byron and Kyle Larson up there and whatnot. However, what we did see, like I said, is Hamlin puts Ross Chastain in the wall, and then actually as well, you saw Chastain have an absolutely miserable exit to the corner due to Hamlin putting Chastain in the wall. Chastain's on the fresh tires of 4, Hamlin on the 2, but really gets interesting on the exit of turn 2. So it looks like Chastain, obviously his corner's absolutely ruined. Hamlin runs into the back of him on the exit of turn 2 because of the absolute lack of speed Chastain was able to carry after getting walled by Hamlin. But then we saw Ross Chastain actually appear to almost brake check Denny Hamlin down the back straightaway. So Denny gets Ross. Ross brake checks Denny from the looks of it, and well, you don't brake check Denny Hamlin. I don't care if Denny Hamlin wrecked you 7,000 times. You don't brake check Denny Hamlin. So Hamlin goes down into the next corner and punts the one car out of the way. And you saw Ross had many opportunities to get Denny Hamlin back. Never took a single one of those opportunities. To me, that says something about the kind of run-ins those two have been having. So actually, this is where the kind of the meat and butter comes in. Denny Hamlin, on his podcast, admitted that it was on purpose. The Actions Detrimental podcast that he's with Dirty Mo Media doing this year, and it's a fantastic listen, by the way. I highly recommend listening to Denny Hamlin's podcast. You hear a lot of really insightful things, and there's a lot of different viewpoints that's really nice to take in from the traditional viewpoints that you can kind of get. But from the podcast, a quote, actually I found this in a subreddit and I'll share a screenshot of it, but quote, "I saw you was on the outside of me. I went into turn 1 with the mindset of I'm not going to get the best finish I can get," which was pretty obvious with the way he was set up. I'm on 2 tires and I go into turn 1, and while I even went shallow on speed, my car plowed, the front tires went straight, and they were calling the one car on the outside. So at that point I knew I was screwed. I knew that I was about to go backwards. I had all the 4 tire cars behind me. They were going to pass me or more than likely by the next corner, and I'm like, I'm going straight to the back. At that point, I said, all right, well, I'm about to get passed by everyone behind me on fresh tires, and I'm about to finish in the mid-teens. And I said, you're coming with me, bud, as Ross Chastain that is alluding to. It wasn't a mistake. No, I let the wheel go, and I said, he's coming with me. So Hamlin very openly admits that he meant to take Chastain with him. None of them crashed, but he certainly absolutely royally screwed over Ross Chastain, who had a shot at the top 5. But then before we move on from this, he then goes on saying he's calling himself out, for being an idiot about what happens, but says at the time he wanted to give him a hard time, did it on purpose, said he wanted to stick up to his word of getting back at him in general, and this was an instance of it, essentially randomly happening. Says there is now a truce and that they are both ready to move on from their rivalry, hopefully, that was my biggest takeaway from this whole thing. So it seems like, based off of that, it sounds like Hamlin, Chastain talked about it yesterday after the race, and it seems like there is maybe now kind of a common ground. I mean, you think back now to this rivalry that Chastain and Hamlin have, starting off, of course, with Gateway in 2022, where I mean, it doesn't take a genius. It literally takes common sense in this one, where you saw Ross Chastain full-blown dump Denny Hamlin into the barrier. Hamlin, of course, not happy in that instance, made Chastain's life pretty miserable for a good probably 10 to 15 minutes following that accident and that caution. And then, of course, we have seen a few weeks later at the Atlanta race, the second Atlanta race, I believe it was, of the season. Or was it the first one? I can't remember. It should have been the second one, right? It has to have been the second one. But we saw Ross Chastain. This one was not on purpose, but he washed up the track and turned Hamlin at Atlanta and brought out a yellow flag as well that screwed over Denny Hamlin at the time. So at that time, it was Ross 2 and very avoidable moments of contact, and Denny 0. We then saw Denny Hamlin get payback at Pocono very shortly after Atlanta, and he completely wiped out Ross Chastain on a late race restart, gave him no room to work with, and, well, 2 Ross, 1 Denny at that point. Where did the rivalry go from there? We didn't really see them two have a run-in after that point for a while. Martinsville elimination race to make the Final Four was kind of where they kind of collided again, and they were going at it on that last restart of the race, and Denny actually, tried to get in behind Ross and wreck him, but no one actually had anything happen. And then Ross, of course, well, did the Hail Melon, rolled the wall, made it into the Final Four, hilariously passing Denny Hamlin at the line to knock him out, which was, it had to have been so painful for Denny. But the end of the season, in my opinion, Ross Chastain 2, Denny Hamlin 1, and Denny Hamlin said he was going to get Ross back. He did at Pocono, but Denny obviously felt maybe he still owed Ross, which, I mean, if you look at statistically, the 2-1, you could kind of say he did, and, well, he certainly used it up there in Phoenix, and made Trackhouse's day go from rough with Daniel Suarez, of course, with that speeding penalty, getting caught back in the 20s, to now Ross Chastain getting an unfortunate result out of it as well. So Denny said, if I'm going down, you're going down with me, kind of taking a quote out of the Chainsmokers Paris track. If we go down, we go down together. But now, in my opinion, that I don't think this rivalry goes anywhere from here, because no matter what, that's a 2v2 now. That's a guarantee. They are tied up on hits or hits to each other. So I hope that the rivalry continues on, to be honest, because I think a rivalry is great for the NASCAR Cup Series. But it'll be interesting to see. Let me know down below what you guys thought of the whole Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin thing. I think it's been funny to watch since 2022 began, and a lot of people very passionate about it. And I think, in the first half of the rivalry, I thought it was really funny because everyone was really against Denny Hamlin, although he was the one that was on the receiving end both times for doing nothing. But obviously now he's been getting back at it. So it's really interesting to watch the dynamic play out after this Phoenix race. I'll be curious to see where it goes from here. And speaking of the Phoenix race, before we wrap up the video, NASCAR with their new package there. Actually, they had mud flaps on the car. That was very barely noticeable, but they did notice that, of course, because they do have to have the rain package on the tracks where they can have rain on ovals now and race still. But yeah, I thought the racing, it was nice to see some multi-groove racing. It looked like the cars were harder to drive. Overall, I would say it was an improvement from last year at Phoenix, but not much. And I feel like it's really hard to improve Phoenix because, what we've learned as well over the last few years, 3-4 years, Phoenix doesn't seem to be a track that can be saved in terms of the racing quality, and I still question to this day why we go there for the championship finale. The facility is fantastic, it's great for fans, but still I would choose a better actual race product over a facility personally. That would be my preference. But let me know down below. I thought the racing it had improved for short tracks, but I don't think we've got enough of a sample size yet to see what it's going to do, of course, at other short tracks and the road courses as well. But let me know what you thought down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everybody.